Dalek Invasion of Earth, Part 6. The completion of this legendary serial within the classic Doctor Who canon. Aside from being memorable as just a stellar program in general, Dalek Invasion of Earth, this is known as the final appearance as a companion. For now, she reappears later in the Five Doctors. This is the last appearance of Susan, the Doctor's granddaughter. I have to admit, I almost think that the writing of this final serial, Part 6, is the way that the Doctor, Ian, and Barbara all coincide their efforts and manage to defeat the Dalek menace in the UK at least. Oh, it's all very convenient. It's satisfying to watch, and the first 5 episodes are a ton of fun. And it's still fun to watch episode 6, them take down the Daleks, but it's very convenient the methods which they do. There's the Doctor sets off one bomb which takes out the Daleks' mobility around there seemingly, and it just around the area. It's very it's just easy and convenient, a writing tool, frankly. But I appreciate that they wrapped that storyline up so quick, so that for the last 15 minutes of the episode, for almost the entire second half of the episode, it's about the aftermath. Doctor, Ian, Susan, and Barbara, they're saying their goodbyes, they're going to go back. But then Susan decides that, she wants to say a quick goodbye to David. David confesses his love for her, says, "Susan, do you still want to stay with me on Earth?" Susan's been contemplating it. Ultimately, she decides that no, she can't stay. But it's the Doctor, her grandfather, who locks the door of the TARDIS as she was saying her last goodbye, saying, it's a really moving scene. She's saying, "Susan, you can't live for this silly old man. You have to live for yourself. You can find a lot more out of life with this person on Earth here. You need roots of your own. You can't just hang around me your whole life. You're worth so much more than that." It moves me so much that ultimately it's the Doctor who encourages Susan to let go, rather than, one would expect a scene of the Doctor begging trying to encourage Susan to stay, and Susan saying, "I'm sorry, grandfather, this is what I'd rather do." So in this reversal sense, it's such a moving moment, and I can understand why it was considered such a legendary piece in the history of Doctor Who. It sets the standards for the great emotional rush that occurs when a beloved companion decides to leave. Or in this case, obviously, specifically the Doctor encourages her and his granddaughter, no less, to leave. It's very, very moving and emotional. These images of post-apocalyptic London in general, just the genre qualities, the pulpy qualities of the Dalek invasion of Earth, and yet so much care and consideration to the actual art design. Fairly solid direction from Richard Martin overall. You love seeing the Daleks go around. The engineering on these things, I believe it is said that they don't actually, people who were designing and utilising the Daleks in the 70s, or even in the later 60s, I believe I've read some of it, they don't exactly know how they managed to perfect the movements in the eye stalks of the Daleks. I don't know if the old engineers, the old VFX artists ever revealed that secret. Someone comment if they did, because I don't think they quite have the same effect afterward. But there was so much fun material packed into each individual episode, or emotional in the case of this final episode, episode 6 of the Dalek Invasion of Earth. It just seemed obvious to me that this was the finest, most substantial serial it put out up to this point in time. We'll obviously be completing retrospectives of the remainder of the William Hartnell era, but for now, I can't imagine any of the other serials, maybe we'll get to one, truly topping this monumental work. This would be the Dalek serial with which all the others would be held to a standard. This magnificent piece of humans and the Doctor trying to outwit the Daleks who have control over a particular planet, or in this case Earth, or it's a prototype for the Cyberman invasion, or just the aliens invading contemporary Earth/UK cities in general, contemporary suburban or urban environments. It's just magic and uncanny, beautiful. Just seeing the Daleks around in these environments and in the sets as well. It's just, to me, this is television, visual science fiction magic. It's so much just weird fun, it's just seeing them. They're such a strange and alien design, and seeing them wander around like that, it is alien. It is strange, and it's just, you would never imagine that something would develop. We would never design something like that. It's such a fluke of a design in the first place. Like, he was such a cynical design, and so it winds up being so alien and unintuitive. Genius. I've explained this before. We won't go into it again. I don't know what else. I want to make sure I've said everything here. Yeah, amazing. Post-apocalyptic London, post-survival resistance thriller with the Daleks. You don't get much better than that. Black and white, such great stuff. One of the most rewatchable and fun Doctor Who classic serials, Doctor Who pieces of media ever released, in my opinion. Absolutely love this one. But what is the consensus? Is it similar to my own adoration for this serial? Let's find out. Let's see what Wikipedia's critical response tab has to say. At the BBC Programme Review Board, after the broadcast of the first episode in November 1964, Director of Television Kenneth Adam called it interesting. The audience research report was higher than usual, with praise for the production and atmosphere. The primary complaint was the lack of Daleks, and some viewers felt it was too gruesome for children. The review board described the third episode as outstanding. The following week, executives of the board felt that the show's quality was consistently high. Adam indicated that Director General Hugh Green was eager to see the Daleks return in future stories. Who wouldn't be? T.C. Worsley of the Financial Times praised the serial for creating a universal image for the Daleks. Yes, it might have done that. Must have done that. On 27th of May 1965, critic Frederick Laws wrote that he had banned his children from watching Doctor Who due to the ending of the serial's first episode. How quaint, the Dalek coming out of the river. No. Kids aren't allowed to see it. Oh, come on. I would love to have seen that as a kid. Don't deprive me of that. How dare you, sir? I do think it's true. The Dalek invasion of Earth must have really pushed for Dalek mania that I've read about, even more so than the first serial. Just seeing them in London would have been a trip. Holy crap. Anyway, retrospective of the reviews of the serial were generally positive. In the Discontinuity Guide 1995, Paul Cornell, Martin Day and Keith Topping praised the exterior sequences of the Daleks, though noted the less impressive production of the Sliver. The Sliver. That's true. I remember I was talking about how great this particular serial is in I think it's the last episode, episode 5 of our retrospective in my upload. And as I'm doing that, the Sliver's trying to attack Ian and his mate, Larry, whatever his name is, the miner. As they're going down there, they're pushing it off the elevator. People who aren't familiar with the show are going, what's this lunatic talking about? Is this meant to be a joke? It's a cosmic joke, but I didn't intend it as a joke. So yes, a joke. In the television companion 1998, David J. Howe and Stephen James Walker described the serial as one of the series' all-time greats. Yep, with impressive scripting and location filming despite some clumsy direction, sure. They also praised the poignant and moving final scene. Oh yeah. In A Critical History of Doctor Who 1999, John Kenneth Moore found the serial to be one of Doctor Who's darkest and praised... There's lots of death in this one, yeah. It's no wonder people... I mean, I could imagine, wanting your kids not to see this when you're hearing, people getting killed off screen and all this... these characters being introduced and then getting killed off, sacrificing their lives as in the case of the what's his name, Dortman, and praised the location shooting and the characterization of Susan, and noted some sexism in the Doctor's final remarks and criticised some positively amateurish special effects. Some sexism in the Doctor's final remarks. Yeah, maybe. Possibly. In 2008, Mark Braxton of Radio Times praised the supporting cast, location, filming, and emotional ending, but noted the continuity errors concerning the Daleks and the production shortcomings as a result of the serial's ambition. In a 2011 review, the AV Club's Christopher Barn, the AV Club, don't we just love them? We're going to be the tastemakers, we're going to be the gatekeepers of culture. And it's just like, just get better writers first, Criticised the serial's slow pacing and the uninteresting concept of the Robo-Men, and noted that Susan's departure lacked dramatic impact because the Doctor chose for her. However, he praised the first episode of it and its cliffhanger and the characterization of the Doctor. This is why AV Club always imposing rules. One thing, it is sad to see Susan go, because you realise that just almost like when someone leaves in real life, when something change happens in life, you go, oh wait, I didn't spend enough time enjoying that. I took that person for granted. Though, unfortunately, to my dismay, I must say, I think it's partly because I don't know if this show utilised the likeable character of Susan for much other than as a damsel in distress too much of the time. It's unfortunate. Barbara suffers from being a damsel in distress sometimes she's subject to that by the show's writing staff, although more often than Susan, certainly, she's a more interesting and, active, useful character, rather than just being a foil for the Doctor and Ian to try and rescue. Don't get me wrong, everyone gets captured in Doctor Who and escapes and all that. It's just a staple of classic Who, as it were. In 2010, Charlie Jane Anders of IO9 listed the first episode's cliffhanger as one of the greatest in the show's history. The Dalek invasion of Earth was voted the best first Doctor story by Doctor Who magazine readers in 2020. Sure. Writer Nick Setchfield cited the atmosphere, character, and narrative as its greatest elements in the first episode's cliffhanger, and Susan's departure among its best moments. Very, very nice stuff. There we go, then. I think that's more or less all we need to say about the Dalek invasion of Earth. What a tremendous serial. Or not. Let me know if you disagree in the comments. I'm open to that as well. Absolutely. More importantly, have the best possible day, night you've ever imagined. And if you're so inclined, tune in for our next Doctor Who retrospective. We'll be doing the two-parter, The Rescue. That'll be quite exciting, I think. The introduction of Vicky, no less. If you're so inclined, tune in next time to AOD's Classic Doctor Who retrospective.